Well, welcome to USENIX Annual Technical Conference 2019. Yes. So I'm one of the co-chairs. My name is Dahlia Malkhi. I'm presently at Facebook Calibra and formerly VMware Research. And what do you think is the most important task for a program co-chair to accomplish? In shouts, mostly from the front. Nah. What do you think is the most important? Nah. The most important task for a program co-chair is to choose a worthwhile co-chair to help her along. And in that vein, I scored A++, and I'll let my co-chair introduce herself.
Thank you, Dahlia. Hello, welcome to USENIX Annual Technical Conference 2019. I'm Dan Tsafrir from the Technion and from VMware Research. So, at the beginning of the opening remarks, it is customary to talk about some statistics and the reviewing process. And I'll start with some statistics, albeit a little unconventional. I speculate a lot of attendees here are unaware of the fact that in the web page of the technical program of our conference, there's among the many links there's also a tiny link that points to the message from the program chairs. This message, welcomes everybody and, say thank you to everybody involved and, provide some high-level information. And I'll talk about, I'll start with the number of pages of this message. So you can see here the data of the last decade. It's pretty boring and mostly one, right? And something happened last year, which made the number of pages double. And the question is whether it's a one-time occurrence or if the trend will continue. So I'll show you what happened this year. Obviously, it did continue. It dramatically increased, and the number of pages is so high that it's 50% more than what we allow for a full, papers on the program. Luckily, we didn't get reviewed; otherwise, we would have had to reject. So the follow-up question is, why is it so long? And the reason is because we had a lot to say. Partially because there were a lot of changes introduced this year. A bunch of the changes revolved around making the review process of ATC similar to the other leading conferences. Now, this year we introduced a double-blind review, meaning the reviewers are unaware of the authors and their affiliations, such that hopefully bias is reduced. And it used to be the case that ATC papers submissions got, we employ a two-round review process, so we get 2 reviews, and then if you pass, you get an additional 2. Whereas in the, what's usual for the top-tier system conference is at least 3. And then 2, and this is what we have this year, at least 3, sometimes 4, and then 2. We also introduced author response, a rebuttal, to allow, in case there are factual errors in the reviews or misunderstandings, we all hate being rejected because of that, and so that gives the authors a chance to rebut. And all the papers that have been accepted have been shepherded this year. There have been a bunch of other changes. You can take a look. One of them that I'll point out is the lightning sessions. Lightning sessions are standard in some communities, for example, the architecture community. I really like them. I think they are really fun. Lightning sessions are, all the speaker of the day they queue in one line, and everybody gets to say something about their work for 2 minutes. And this is especially suitable for dual track conferences, because then you get to you can decide which parallel sessions you prefer to attend. Okay, so to the more conventional statistics, so we started off with 356 submissions from 1,700 authors, and we ended up with 71. The submissions are slightly less than last year, which sort of makes sense because the deadline was much easier, much closer to New Year this time. It's nearly the same, though. And, reviewing hundreds of submissions takes a lot of work, and we wrote, or our program committee wrote, 1,700 reviews. And just to give you a sense of how much work that is, so here's a figure that counts the number of words in the Lord of the Ring trilogy, plus The Hobbit, plus Silmarillion, and still you get something that is much, much smaller than the number of words in the ATC reviews this year, which is more than 1 million. That's a lot. So somebody needs to do the work. Somebody needs to write that 1 million+ words, and we had a huge committee of 115 members. And if you think about it, if you want to draft a high-quality committee that size, it's actually rather challenging. Do you know 115 people you trust to write high-quality reviews, on time, all that? So in order to address this challenge, one of the things that we've done was to compile a list of all the members of the program committees of the top-tier conferences in the last 3 years. So it was 7 conferences, SOSP, OSDI, FAST, NSDI, all these. And so we had 7 times 3 years, so it's 21, and we had the data, and we could look at the data. And sometimes data tells interesting stories. In this particular case, here's the story. So we had more than 1,100 memberships. But if you look at the unique people, it's actually much less. And then if you look at the people that do it more than once in those 3 years, it's much, much less. It's less than 300, which suggests that we have a scalability problem because it's very few people doing a lot of reviewing work. And this graph here, and these guys, they account for 70% of the memberships, these guys that do it more than once. And if you look at the histogram here, the x-axis shows number of PCs, and y-axis shows how many members served in this many PCs. And so you can see, for example, that there are 335 that did only once. And there is one dude that did 8. So, of course, this dude is probably excellent, and we want him, right? Who's that dude? That's Mahesh. Did you know? So, of course, immediately, we invited him to the PC. And to our surprise, he said yes. So later I met him, I asked him, Mahesh, for goodness sake, how was it possible that you said yes? Look at the data. And he said, Dahlia was signed on that invite, and I'm not saying no to Dahlia. And with that,
okay. So we continue the trend of Dan doing all the work, and I'm just thanking everybody for doing the good work. We have a lot of people to thank for. As Dan mentioned, we had an amazing and somewhat large program committee, which put all their expertise, all their knowledge voluntarily to choose and prepare the program for this conference. Let's give them a round of applause. And program committee members, please stand up. If you're in the audience, stand up, stand up. Thank you. We also had external reviewer committee and Best of Rest session co-chairs, and you'll see the session, and the Lightning Talks co-chairs that helps put together this amazing logistical effort. Please, all of you in the audience, stand up and give them a round of applause. And then, even with all of these people, and even with Dan co-chairing, there is still too much work for us to handle. So then we solicited and recruited two wonderful colleagues, Lalith and Gerd, to help us manage all the logistics of submission, sorting, and assignments, and a lot of the technical work. I don't know if any of you is here in the audience. I can't quite see. If you are, please stand up, and let's give them a round of applause anyway. All of these are volunteers, let me remind you. We also have the USENIX staff, without which this conference, this venue, and all of the administrations would not happen. And we're very, very thankful for the professional help that the USENIX Association is giving this conference. Again, stand up if you're here, and a round of applause. Thank you. Last but not least, capital drives everything. We have sponsors, commercial sponsors that facilitate many of the funding that's going on, and we'd like to acknowledge and thank them. And in particular, we had student grant sponsor this year, the NSF, and diversity grant sponsor, which is VMware. So thank you for all, to all our sponsors. And then, of course, there's the conference, you, the authors, the submitters of accepted works, and also the submitters of papers that did not make it this year to the conference, but have put all their work, their research, and their preparation into making this program a successful one. And the rest of the attendants who are here to hear and learn and exchange and network. Thank you for all of the attendants and all of the authors. For some of you, this might be a very, very special conference. This might be your first or the first ATC. So for you and for anybody who needs a reminder, please see your session chair in advance. Make sure you're known. Make sure they know how to pronounce your name. And please email a PDF of your slides to slides@usenix.org. Also, we have Birds of the Feather session, sign-up sheets, and all the instructions are at the registration desk. And what is this? And we have students and diversity grant recipients. Please meet at the registration area on Thursday. There are a bunch of conference activities that are listed at the registration desks in the program. Just check this out. And in particular, notice that we have poster sessions both days with all of the accepted papers presented as posters. So if you want some more in-depth interaction with authors, clarifications, or just missed a talk, you can always check out the posters. Very, very encouraged to attend and engage. There's a bunch of USENIX events that we'd like to post up, and I'll let you view this for a second. I'm not going to read all of them. And I will just say that there's a student research competition ongoing and still open for submissions at SOSP 19. For details, again, check the registration desk, and you can, or online, and you can still send abstracts. And this leads to the very, very much anticipated and fun part of Best Paper Awards. So this year, there are a lot of worthy papers accepted, and a special SWAT team out of the program committee was put together to look at all of the worthy papers. We came up with a short list of 8 papers that for about a month we read and discussed. And in the end, 3 papers are going to receive Best Paper Award, and they are, drum roll. Thank you. You're such a great audience for so early in the morning. All right, first paper, a retargetable system-level DBT hypervisor. Tom, Harry, and Bjorn, if any of you or all of you are in the audience, please come to the stage to receive the award.
Thank you.
So take the award out, show it to the camera.
You have to take it out.
Take it out. And stand behind the white line. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Second paper, Suspended Building. Silk, preventing latency spikes in log-structured merge key value stores. Oana, Florian, Willie, Karen, Ravi Shankar, and Diego. Any or all of you in the audience, please come up to the stage. And the last one, transactuations, where transactions meet the physical world. Aritra, Tanakron, Masood, and Caesar. Any or all of you in the audience, please come to the podium.
Okay.
And I'll hand it back to Dan.
Okay. We're late. Okay, so there will be another award. It will be handed on Friday at 5 minutes after 9. Lifetime Achievement Award. Please be there. It's a surprise. Also, next year there will be another ATC. Here's the deadline. Here's the date and the names of the next program co-chairs, Erez and Ada, who I think should be here.